BLUELOCK's Neo Egoist League has ended, which means we are getting our final salaries ever. But before we do, I want to try and predict every single salary in BLUELOCK to see who ranks where, who is safe, and who is eliminated. Since this is a final salary video, I want to list every relevant character and their ranking, even if they don't make the top 23. So this includes the eliminated players, players who will barely make it, and how much the top players' salaries will actually be. Let's start from the bottom salaries, who I think will get eliminated, not making the top 23, but still getting a salary. It's gotta be Igaguri, everyone's favorite comedy relief character. Now, even though Igaguri did play in the last game, and previously I said he will survive, this is all before he was subbed out after like 2 plays. He did get a couple of fouls on Destroyer Mode Rin, essentially stopping one of the best weapons in the series, but it really doesn't matter when he had like 5 minutes of playtime. There is just no way Igaguri gets a high enough salary to beat out any of the other players currently in the top 23, especially considering he doesn't even have a ranking now. Honestly, I like Igaguri. I think he's funny. Does he deserve to make it? Not really, but I think there's also some frauds in the top 23 that may even be more useless than Igaguri. So that's why a lot of people seem to predict that he'll make it, because he at least did something compared to other players. The thing is, he didn't do anything massive like make an assist or a goal. The cope is over, guys. We won't see Igaguri impact, but I do think he'll get an offer from a club. This way, he won't have to put the fries in the bag and start working at the temple again, his motivation for playing football in the first place. And honestly, he's good comedy relief, so I can still see him being relevant in the manga. I'm a firm believer that Igaguri will just be selling hot dogs in the stands. Anyways, from this PXG game, I think Igaguri deserves an 8 million salary. He just didn't do enough to be safe, but he still gets enough money to not go to the temple. The next characters and their salaries I want to mention are all pretty much eliminated characters. We got Hiragi Reiji and the Iron Wall Quartet, except Aiku, so Dairai Miroku, Neo Kazuma, and Naru Teppei. Now, these characters aren't as well known as Igaguri, but they had some sort of relevance in the manga at a point in time. Hiragi was important in episode Nagi, and the Iron Wall Quartet was obviously previous U20 players. Hiragi really got the short end of the stick, playing on a Munchen with Chigiri, Nagi, and Reo at the team that's currently 0-3. And since he only has a 9 million salary at the moment, there is no way he would get some relevance in this last game, so it's almost impossible for him to make the top 23. I think Hiragi would get a 12 million final salary, solidifying his elimination, but maybe getting a slight increase from this game, so we have to list it. Now, it's literally impossible for Naru Teppei to make it. He had a 0 playtime throughout all of the Neo Egoist League. Noel Noah unfortunately chose Birkenstock with 0 feats over the Speedster. And although Dairai and Neo Kazuma are numbers 25 and 26, super close to that 23rd safe spot, they just don't have any plot relevance to stay alive. Dairai is playing for Barca and Neo is playing for Munchen, so I can technically see them increasing it, with Dairai being at 15 million. I think he'll get to 20 million from this game, and Neo will go from 10 million to like 15 million, just barely missing the mark and being eliminated. I just wanted to address those characters. I highly doubt any people actually care about them, unlike this eliminated player, which is Hajime Nishioka or Aomori's Messi. Now, I genuinely don't know where the Nishioka hype came from, and at this point, you guys genuinely got me believing he's gonna make it. If you don't know who this guy is, it's for a good reason, because this guy hasn't played on screen once. All we know is that he somehow makes it alive every single time and is called Aomori's Messi, so people think he's gonna put on a cinematic performance when we actually see him play. However, this guy got a current salary of a few pennies, if you can even call it that. He literally has the lowest salary and ranking in all of the Neo Egoist League. Even then, there are still people who think he's gonna pull through and make it from this last game. I'm not gonna lie, you have a better shot at winning at the casino than him making it. The only way he makes it is if a phenomenon called plot happens, and it's a big shock factor if he ends up doing it. We gotta look at the evidence though. No relevance, lowest salary in the Neo Egoist League, and the Munchen match, the team he is on, is gonna be about Nagi and Reo. So there is no way he gets some screen time here. I think his 3 million salary will just stay at 3 million. This guy is not making it. So far, we've been talking about the eliminated player salaries increasing or staying the same. This player, however, did the complete opposite, and I think he'll have a decreased salary. That, of course, is Tokimitsu. Plain and simple, Tokimitsu was the most useless character in PXG, even giving them a yellow card. Most of the time, we don't even see a full panel for this guy. It's just a little small panel on one page of a 24-page chapter. That about sums up his relevancy. And for someone who was previously ranked top 3 and a big threat in the second selection, man, did he fall from grace. Nagi and Reo got their salaries decreased for doing nothing. Tokimitsu should never be allowed to play football again after this performance. I think his salary will decrease from 23 million to 20 million. Another player in PXG who I think will get eliminated as well is unfortunately Nanase, who I actually think will be the 24th spot. Now, Nanase is a character who can arguably make it. He's currently number 24, so right on the edge, as well as he actually did something unlike Tokimitsu. However, all of it was to help Rin before Destroyer mode, and then that Rin didn't really do too much, so by default, Nanase didn't do too much. On top of that, Rin went on a solo run of the Sentry, pretty much abandoning Nanase and Tokimitsu, the two people in his system, so it makes sense if they don't get too high of a salary increase. Because of that, I think Nanase will get eliminated, but be very close just to make it intense. I predict he'll end up 24th with a final salary of 22 million, a 6 million increase. All right, now we can get into the characters who are in the top 23. Starting off with the 23rd spot, I think this will be Kiora Jin. Now, Kiora only had 1 assist in the Bastard versus PXG game, and besides that, he did absolutely nothing. And even though that isn't a lot, I still think it makes the most sense for him to survive. Compared to other players like Tokimitsu, Nanase, and Igaguri, which isn't a high bar, having 1 huge assist is really good, and his whole character is about being the borderliner, so if he ends up as the borderline for this, it makes perfect sense. His salary is a huge debate right now because he has a big fat 0, so he has to be safe just from this 1 game. And a lot of people believe that the cutoff is Fukaku Gen, the second goalkeeper who literally has blocked nothing in the NEL, who got a miracle salary of 28 million. So the common belief was that 28 million was the requirement. However, I think with Kiora being the borderliner, and the fact that 1 assist can't carry him that far up, he'll end up safe with a 25 million salary, ending at the 23rd spot, right on the edge. And speaking of Fukaku Gen, he's confirmed to have a 28 million salary, so he'll end up at the 22nd spot. This is the biggest charity salary in all of the Neo Egoist League. This is what give Nishioka and Igaguri believers hope. Because if this guy can do nothing and get away with it, so can they. Anyways, he's a part of the Ubers, and all the Ubers players have their salaries confirmed, so I'll just be listing what their values are from now on. Now, the 21st spot, I think this will go to Raichi with a 28 million final salary. So getting a 10 million increase from his PXG performance. Now, Raichi honestly hasn't done it that much to deserve anything higher than 10 million, but he has a low salary, and we know that lower salaries tend to increase more, and he did get a few blocks and passes. Just due to plot, him being an OG Team Z member, I think he'll be safe at that amount. For the 20th spot, I'm placing Zantetsu here, and this is actually a change for me. I thought he was going to get eliminated, but then he started pulling through towards the end. Zantetsu was almost as useless as Tokimitsu somehow, but then he started getting on Kunigami, chasing the ball, and even though it wasn't much, he'll 100% get a salary increase from this. Zantetsu kind of has a high salary already, and I think it makes sense if he gets 7 million for his performance in PXG, ending with a clean 30 million salary. The 19th spot is Gagamaru, who I believe will have a final salary of 35 million. So just a little above Zantetsu, he's 100% safe as the dedicated goalkeeper, but he won't get that high of a salary increase just because in PXG he only had 1 block. For the 18th spot, I'm placing Corona at a final salary of 36 million. Now, this is an even lower increase than Gagamaru's 3 million increase. Corona went from 34 to 36 million. It makes sense because Corona got subbed in for like 1 second to help Isagi, got a few passes, and then got rolled by Rin, and then somehow ran out of stamina, so he got subbed out. Yeah, Corona really went through the whole roller coaster ride in like 2 minutes, so he really contributed nothing. I like Corona, but I doubt he'll get anything more than 2 million for this match. The 17th spot is Sendo with the final salary of 37 million. He plays in Uber, so this is a confirmed final salary. Same with the 16th spot, Nico at a confirmed final salary at 40 million. The young prod makes it through. 15th is actually one I was wrong about. This is a Yukimiya, who I believe will have a final salary of 42 million. So getting a 6 million increase. Now, before, a lot of people, including myself, thought Yukimiya wasn't gonna play in PXG, so there's no way he can increase it. It was really looking that way because the score was 2-2. However, he proved myself and others wrong, getting a good solo run by himself as well as a shot attempt, and all of this was done in like the span of 1 chapter 2. He did more than Corona and Raichi in the little time he played in this match, as well well as passing PXG is a pretty hefty feat, so he's 100% going up. For the 14th spot, Karasu, I think will tie Yukimiya at 42 million. Another one I'm positively changing as well from what I thought before. Karasu is at 35 million. However, in PXG, he has been putting on a clinic, stealing possession, taking duels, as well as being the only relevant player in PXG besides Rin, Shidou, and Charles. Essentially, Karasu is the best of the worst in PXG compared to every other player by a large margin, so he definitely sticks out. Taking into account his loss to Hiori though, I think he'll only get a 7 million increase, ending at 42 million. The 13th spot is a very drastic change from the current ranking. Hiori, I believe, will be at 44 million, gaining more than double his current salary of 20 million. As long as you read the game without Yukimiya vision, you can see Hiori was just absolutely doing everything in PXG, defending, passing, overcoming obstacles, evolving. He didn't get a single assist this match. However, everything else he still did, I believe, will get him a really high salary increase, even without that goal or assist. He's shaping up to be one of the best midfielders in the series. The fact that he's only played 2 games, pretty much 1.5 at this point, he played at the end of the Ubers match and still managed to get this amount, it's very impressive. So tipping off my hat to Hiori, I think he performed fantastically, especially no dipping Karasu in one of the final matchups. 12th is Ryu with 45 million. This is an Ubers player, so his final salary is 45 million. No need to explain here. 11th is one that's very unknown. It can go a lot of ways, but I think this will be Atoya. Now, Atoya hasn't really stood out, and there is a burning passion in some people's hearts to hate Atoya because of that. I might just be preaching to the choir though, because I'm definitely sad people. However, he is the second relevant character in Barca, and he could easily get an assist or goal in the last game. In my opinion, I don't really see him scoring a goal, but I do see him getting an assist or 2 to Bachira, which still increases your salary a lot. So he'll 100% increase his salary from this game, I think, to around 52 million for a final salary. So getting 10 million increase. The 10th spot is Aiku at 60 million, another Ubers player who played all of their games, so he can't increase it anymore. But someone that 100% can, and I think will surpass Aiku, is Reo at the 9th spot. Now, we have to go on a whim here. There is almost zero context clues for what's going to happen to Nagi and Reo, whether they are going to develop or their downfall is going to further continue. And with the next chapter literally being only half the Manshine game and the other half being Salaries, it's confusing whether all their development will be in this chapter. However, I do believe that Reo and Nagi will split up again, and Reo will start working on his own, using the copy weapon aggressively like we saw him use against Bastard. And Reo got a huge salary of 40 million just for 1 assist to Nagi's 5-shot. So if he scores a goal, I think it's pretty plausible for him that he'll increase a lot too. I think Reo will end up with a 64 million final salary, with him at currently 34 million. He gets another 30 million for his goal. In fact, maybe he'll get even more if he scores a goal, but we've seen goals worth around that same price. Moving on to our top 8, this is gonna be Kunigami, and I think he'll get a final salary of 75 million. Now, Kunigami is a character who can really change just because of his impact in the PXG game. He's currently at 50 million, so that means a 25 million increase. PXG has been debatably his best game as well. He just hasn't scored a goal. Everything else besides that, though, was pretty good from him. He defended Shidou many times, stole possession, hit passes, and even got an assist off to Isagi. He showcased he can do more than just steal goals, so I think that'll give him a higher salary increase. Am I still bummed out they didn't show the wild card? Yeah, but I still have hope that we'll get it eventually, and he'll get his salary increase for now. Shigiri is gonna be number 7 with a tied salary at 75 million as well. He's at 55 million, so a 20 million increase. Now, why he gets such a hefty salary increase is because I could see him scoring 1 more goal in the last game against Barca. He's been the carry of Manshine for the longest time, as well as it makes sense for what will happen to Nagi, who I believe will be the number 6 spot at a final salary of 88 million. Yes, I think Nagi will make his comeback here. It's very unpredictable at the moment, but I'm investing in the Nagi stocks. I think he'll score 1 more goal to redeem himself and bring him back to his original salary of 88 million. So Chigiri scoring 1, Reo scoring 1, and the next chapter might even give Nagi 1 more goal, keeping him him safe from dropping even lower. However, I could be eating my words in a second and we see him fumble yet again, and he ends up barely surviving, but I think we'll see Nagi make a comeback and end up at the 6th spot. For our 5th spot, this is a very controversial one, but I'm actually placing Shidou at 120 million final salary. Now, Shidou did score in the PXG game, and even though the stakes are high in this match, he kind of did nothing after that goal. Getting continuously shut down by Kunigami, Shidou suffered some aura loss and then was just left spectating Rin versus Kaiser versus Isagi because he didn't evolve. Does that mean Shidou is a bad player? By all means, no. I mean, he was such a big threat that Kunigami needed to stop him, or else they were just gonna run down Bastard with the Shidou Charles combo. I just think you can place another player above him, which is Bachira taking the 4th spot. Now, realistically, Bachira is at 79 million, so he needs to increase above what I think Shidou's final salary of 120 million will end up being. But if we take into consideration that Barca is still playing and Atoya scores no goals, I personally see him scoring the last 2 goals for Barca by himself. It gives a lot of love to Bachira since we haven't seen him in like 3 years, as well as the fact that he is literally giving Barca a back-breaking carry. I think Bachira will end up with a final salary of 130 million, and for 2 goals, 51 million isn't a big stretch. That's like 25.5 for just 1 goal, and not considering everything else Bachira will do in that match, he is pretty flashy with his goals. He'll probably hit some dribbles and passes, as well as he got 32 million for 1 of his goals before. Rounding off the last few players, Barou is ending at number 3. I think he deserves to keep his rank. Bachira and Shidou won't go any higher than him, and he played all his games, so he can't increase. Now, for the numbers 1 and 2 spot, it's obviously between Isagi and Rin, but who will actually be the number 1 at the end of the Neo Egoist League? Well, comparing both of their feats in the PXG game, it's actually very close. You have Rin, who on an individual level was almost unbeatable. I don't think we've seen as dominant of a performance from a single player until Rin soloed all of Bastard, didn't make an easy goal because it was too easy, and then did the same thing just to score. Rin had more defensive feats than all of the PXG defenders combined. In fact, you can make the argument that he's a top 5 defender in BLUELOCK just off of his feats. Now, Rin doesn't come without his faults though. Again, he purposely didn't shoot that easy goal. He lost the ball a lot of times when he was outside of destroyer mode, and the biggest thing was that he lost to Isagi in this match. Where I think this will end up placing Rin in terms of ranking and salaries is at the number 2 spot with 248 million. Rin, I believe, will get a 50 million increase from this game. He really was doing everything this match, but I don't think he can overtake Isagi, who arguably did even more. So first place goes to Isagi, but what can we calculate his final salary to actually be? Well, looking at his feats throughout this match, he scored a goal at the start of the match, defended Charles and like all of PXG, had Rin permanently mark him, made Kaiser start thinking about the pass, manipulated both Kaiser and Ness in order to help him, and then beat out everyone to score the last goal and make a Bastard win. 2 goals for the biggest game in all of the Neo Egoist League, crowning Bastard as the champions and finally beating out Itoshi Rin. We can expect him to cash in the check from this game. Isagi's best performance in a game so far, inside the field and also outside the field. The things this guy was saying would get you banned in voice chat. Overall, he talked a big game, backed it up, and won the whole thing. So for his final salary, I think Isagi will get 300 million, so a 150 million increase. This means he'll double his salary, and on top of that, I think Real will be the one to offer him this salary. So he's getting an offer from the best club, where both Itoshi Sai and Kaiser might end up going. It makes sense as it parallels Kaiser's original salary at the start of the NEL, 300 million. Maybe he ends up taking his spot at Bastard, getting an offer from them, but I think it would be way more hype to see a Real offer. Anyways, that's every single player's final salaries in BLUELOCK. I genuinely can't believe that this is coming to an end. Just wanted to get this video out really quickly since next week we are getting those confirmed salaries, so we of course have to make our last minute predictions. In my opinion, salaries have been one of the coolest ways to rank the players. I'm gonna miss it because we always would look forward to it at the end of every single match. Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. What salary do you think people will get? What offers? If you agree or disagree with my list, or maybe you think someone else will survive. And while you're down there, you might as well hit the subscribe button. We're about to get a whole lot of new content from BLUELOCK, so if you don't want to miss a thing, you're at the best spot. If you watched to the end though, I appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.